All right, welcome everybody to the Legend of Korra review series. I'm your co-host Terminator Juice.
And I'm the other co-host, Milo the Man. No, I'm just kidding. Mega Gamer Man, Games Rolls, or whatever you like to call. Yeah.
All
So,
right, let's get into this. This is a review for Chapter 2, Korra Alone, and this is from Book 4,
yep.
obviously, Changes, Legend of Korra. As always, there'll be plenty of spoilers in here, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, go to nick.com, watch it for free, or go to your usual download sites, wherever you go to watch Korra. Go do that first if you haven't seen the episode. So basically, the title says it all. This whole episode was
hmm
Korra. Basically, it showed her start out in the present day after that fight scene we saw in the last episode, and she was in the bathroom healing herself. So we saw for the first time Korra has the ability to heal with water, which I don't think they've ever shown before. And then
Yeah.
there was a dude, he really needed to go to the bathroom, so it was kind of a little funny moment in the beginning. But then we start to see Korra's it's like a stalker ghost. It's herself in the
yeah.
avatar state that's kind of like tormenting her, and she's really creepy actually. Just kind of
Y-
moves like a ghost and stuff. And
Yeah. You want to know what that reminds me of? Because actually there was like some episodes this morning of the last Airbender.
hmm
So when I saw that Aang was having like these things and dreams of like him in the Avatar state and all this stuff of like the Avatar state version of him,
hmm
like
Oh yeah.
going after. It reminded me about that too. So I was just like, dang. So that's the same thing that happened to Korra. So I'm thinking like because whenever they go into the Avatar state, it's kind of like a new thing for them, and it's really because it's a really powerful thing. So and also they know where if you die in the Avatar state, that's it.
hmm
You're dead. So and also for there will be no more avatars in general. So it's like, whenever they go through the experience of going to the avatar state, they get that kind of mixed feeling, especially when Korra was going in because she was going crazy.
hmm
She was like with all the chains and like trying to kill Zahir like crazy. But that's the same thing that happened with Aang, and I think I'm not sure, but because we don't know. But I'm sure it happened to like every past Avatar too, because if when they ever go to the Avatar state, it's kind of a new thing for them. I know, like in the beginning of book, was it 2, where she was using the Avatar state, whenever she wanted,
Yep.
but that's when she had connection with her past lives. Now she doesn't, and it's kind of a different experience for her because it's not the same kind of Avatar state as you would, you know,
Yeah,
always
because
know.
the past avatars are gone. So
Yeah.
so basically what happens is Um, she's first she walks out in the street, almost gets hit by a car for reasons I don't know,
Oh yeah.
but she's totally out of it. And then in the dark alley, she sees that like the Avatar ghost version of herself with the chains around her arm, and she's like fire bends at it, and people ask her if she's all right, and she's like, yeah, I can take care of myself. And then I can't remember if she sees that puppy first or if she has that flashback. I think it was the flashback was first. They cut back
Yeah.
to right after season or book 3 ends and Korra's getting on the boat, like we saw that preview on Nick before the series or this season started, and she's saying goodbye, saying she's only gonna be gone for 3 weeks, and she's going to the Southern Water Tribe, and it after 3 weeks she hasn't even gone to see Katara yet. She's just moping, she's having nightmares, and she's just feeling sorry for herself. Her mom convinces her to go talk to Katara and try to get healed,
Yeah.
and you see that single tear again come down Korra's face. So she's still just completely traumatized. And then Katara kind of heals her body as best she can, says the poison did a lot of internal damage. And then we get a sequence where Korra's basically she's like somebody doing physical therapy. She's got the 2 bars that she's holding herself up, and she's trying to walk. Start off with just getting her toe to move first because she couldn't move any of her limbs, her legs or toes or anything. And then she's, of
Yeah.
course, Cora's always been stubborn and pighead or big, whatever the word is. She just doesn't want to, she's not as good as listening to people.
Yeah.
She's getting frustrated, and then I think it goes 6 months later. She's still doing like the bars and still trying to walk, and then Katara finally finds a way to get her to visualize it, and she does, and then from that point, she's walking around fine, and Tenzin comes and visits her and stuff, and she's so happy to see him and prove that she's back to normal, and she does a little sparring match with some firebenders, and then she's doing good. And then as soon as she breaks through the fire, she sees Zahir, and she just completely loses it. And it just really shows that she's not ready.
Yeah, she's like having that kind of trauma of
Mhm.
what happened, and like she basically is just so like she keeps having dreams and everything about it because it was such a scary moment. She could have
Mhm.
died. So it's like I understand where she's coming from. That's why she's even more stubborn and all that because honestly all she wants is to just get this out of her head and get rid
Mhm.
of it. Clear her mind away from what happened. But it's really hard because when it's just like let's say if one day you're walking on the road, okay. God forbid, I don't want any of you to go this way, but God forbid you're on the walking across the street, and then all of a sudden a truck comes, right? And then you dodge it, right? But you're still traumatized for the fact that you could have died at that
Mhm.
moment if you didn't do anything. So it's just it's really just that's how what she's really going through. It's I understand why she's like this, and she really just needs to let all of that go. So I understand why she basically like that.
Yeah, and it's as like people have been saying a lot lately is the whole like video games are kiddie or Nintendo games are kiddie because it's got a
Yeah.
certain art style, but this is one of the more mature like things you could ever tackle in a TV series at all. Is like someone struggling with dealing with trauma, emotional trauma and physical trauma. The whole part of her doing the physical therapy, like you don't see that it hardly in any TV shows, let alone an animated series. It's a very tough subject. My grandma had a stroke and she had to do all that to even be able to stand, and it hit home for me, and it's just a very mature theme that they got going on in this episode. It's really amazing that they can take an animated series and make it so mature. So, but moving on, Korra decides that she's gonna, after 2.5 years, she's gonna go to Republic City and get it into the action. She thinks that's gonna be a good way for her to get over this. So it's been two and a
Yeah.
half years, and she's still struggling with seeing that the ghost avatar, the avatar state, version of herself. And she gets on a sailboat by herself, and she gets out in front of Republic City, and on top of like a I don't know, like a cliff or something, she sees that ghost version of herself, and she turns around, and it becomes kind of like a montage of her traveling the world. We can see that shot from the trailer of her walking by a volcano, but everywhere
Yeah.
she goes, she sees the ghost version of herself, and she's haunted by it, and she sees it, but she doesn't react to it as much as she used to. She ends up, it looks like, in the desert at one point. She thought she sees Rava, and it was a mirage, and she ends up basically in a Earth. It looks like all Earth Kingdom, from what I could tell. And then there was a dude, kind of a funny point in the episode where he recognizes her and wants to take a picture of her because he had a picture with Aang, and like it was kind of a goofy pic, and
Yeah.
some bandits or something steal something, typical superhero scene.
I
It's
just
like what are the
like
odds?
I just like though, the fact of where Aang does the face again. I
Mhm.
just love that photo. It's just like because he does the whole thing like he did in Kyoshi Island,
Mhm.
where he's just doing that face and like spitting air.
Yeah.
That thing was really funny.
Was he
I
like
like that.
juggling? Was it look like he was
It was like
juggling something?
how he did it with like those two rocks when he was just spinning them around with his
Yeah.
between his
Yeah.
hands. Basically, he did it with the sushi rolls. So it's like, yeah, and then he's like with that face again. I was just like, dang, I didn't know he did it again,
Yeah, and he was
even when he was
old. He was
older.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
was
I
funny.
really like that part.
They've
But
definitely going out of their way to get the nostalgia going with a lot of the past. It feels like a lot
yeah,
more like the original series. This season, two episodes in, feels a lot more like the original series did. Just the whole tone and everything about it. And I think it's a smart move by them to do that. But then they even he called that character called the egg rolls, ang rolls after that.
yeah, Angrels.
But Korra goes to stop those bandits or whatever, and she's doing okay, but then she freaks out
Yeah,
again and gets hit with a rock, and that's when she decides that she's gonna give up being the Avatar. I think the next shot's her like taking off her avatar, like what makes her recognizable, and then she
Yeah.
cuts her hair with the spear with like a blade on the end, and the music was really amazing.
Time to meet your hair.
And it's like she
Great.
cuts it just blindly, yet it turns out perfect. It's like,
Yeah, so they're
it
wrong.
looks
Time to
awesome.
meet your doom hair. Like there you go.
Yeah, little Azula moment, and then it kind of changed the tone. She ended up, it looked like in the southern, the portal
Um,
for the spirit portal.
yeah, she went to the north portal.
You think it was
'Cause
the north?
that's where the yeah, that's where the tree is located.
Okay. And so then she's sitting in the spirit realm. She's in that tree where she kind of unlocked her power in the book 2. It was with her battle,
Yeah.
and she's seeing nothing. And then the spirits make an interesting uh, comment about they don't sense Rava, the spirit Rava, so they didn't think she was the Avatar. So that's kind of that was basically them telling you that that ghost version of herself is the Rava version of herself, and she's obviously you know, at odds with it. And I think, and my theory is that she's just afraid of the Avatar state because of the last time she was in it, and she's rejecting it, and it's becoming hostile because it's trying to unite back up with her. You know, and
Yeah.
from Korra's perspective, it's a threat, but I think she really needs to just give in and let it make herself become whole again, because obviously Rava's not, the spirit's gone. The spirit's noticed it.
It's like she like Rava's with her. It's just the connections with the past lives are just not there. So that's why you really cannot sense Rava.
Hmm.
So it's like Rava can't really help at all because now she's basically like yeah she basically can do the whole thing where she goes to another she goes to a newborn baby and the whole Avatar cycle is still going,
Hmm.
but it's like for her to like talk to Korra like that, like she did with Wan, right? Because we didn't see her talk with Aang at all. So because now that we got it where she's at this point where she lost the connections, she's now also traumatized by the Avatar state. So she really does not want to know anything about it. Like I can still understand that, but it's like soon she's gonna just face it like can't say man up, woman up, right? So she's gonna have to, or a better word, toughen up, and she's just gonna have
Toughen
to
up.
accept it. Oh my God. Oh man.
So basically, once she cuts her hair and she's traveling, she
Yeah.
ends up in Earth Kingdom Town, and she sees her ghost self again, and it leads her to like an arena, like an underground fighting arena, and basically that takes you right up into where we saw her on the end of last episode, and she has to get in, and she's seeing, like we didn't know from the previous episode, she thinks she's fighting her ghost self, like instead of the woman that she's actually fighting,
Yeah.
and she gets beat, and that kind of leads us to finally it's back into the present pretty much, and then when she's outside she sees a little puppy dog, and she goes up to it, and then the ghost version of Korra comes back, and the dog scares it away, so she follows it into this jungle, which is another kind of
Yeah. She
um,
falls into the
throwback.
swamp.
Yeah, it's a short throwback to book 2 of the Last Airbender,
Yep.
when Aang and them got pulled into that swamp. And interesting enough, Aang was seeing visions of Toph before he met her in that swamp. So when she goes into the swamp, she realizes that the puppy dog is actually one of the spirits
Mhm.
that tried to help her in that tree. And she's just like, she rejected him then, but now she's willing to help, and she goes after it, and she gets attacked by her ghost self, and it was an actually really cool moment, or a cool battle. She was using all 4 elements, and that chain comes unraveled, and she kind of like a whip.
Yeah.
It's just like this really cool moment, and she hooks Korra's leg while Korra's jumping over a tree. And the weird thing was is that white substance. What do you
Oh yeah.
think?
The that was the metallic poison.
You think that's what that was? I thought it was white because of the Avatar state and because Rava. I think
No,
that ghost spirits
it had a grayish color to it.
did
It's
it.
like yeah, it had a grayish color to it because that was the and like it was the poison because that's what basically was, just damaging her, and that's what
Yeah, that's true.
Zahir and what the Red Lotus put in her. So.
All right, that makes sense. I also like my theory too. On top of it, that I think the ghost spirit is Rava trying to find a way to connect back with
I
her.
would see that, yeah.
But yeah, that
I
makes
could definitely
sense
see
too. That was representative of the poison, and she gets sucked down into it, and just it's like she's getting into like a puddle, but it was really just on the
that.
dirt, and it was all in her mind. And then she wakes up on like a straw bed or whatever, and you hear like a fire going, and she looks up, and there's an old lady talking. Another throwback to the. It reminded me of that creepy lady on book 3
Yeah,
of The
right.
Last Airbender.
She had the same voice,
I think it
exact
was
same voice.
the one where Katara learned bloodbending from, and that I was just like, man, this just feels so much like the original series, which is a good thing. And then what does she? She says some. Oh, the old woman says that she should trust. Korra should trust her avatar senses or whatever, if that's what brought her here. And she's like, how do you know I'm the avatar? And then she sees her, and it's like that shot we saw at the end of the trailer. She's
Yep.
like, and I'm gonna play a little clip from last week's episode. I hope this comes through all right. So let me just see. The one thing, there's not a question here, but I'm gonna ask this because I think next episode we're gonna see Toph. I think because Korra's in the Earth Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
She's so that was my thoughts last week, and I said that we're gonna see Toph this episode. If that came through loud enough.
Yeah.
So I was right. And for Tessa, if you're watching this, when we were doing our thoughts and predictions before the season started, she said we didn't know what we were talking about. She made a comment like that, and I'm like, we called it, because then you said it was going to end a little bit later. You said the episode was going to end as soon as we saw Toph. And
Yeah.
it was maybe 5 seconds later. She says, good to see you again, Twinkle Toes. And it was, again, another throwback to the original series. It was awesome. Toph's looking pretty old, though. I was hoping she'd look a little younger than, like, Zuko and Katara, but she's still
I was like,
pretty old.
but the thing is, though, with me, it's just like, okay, so, all right, yeah, you were a little girl. We saw you as an adult. You were nice, tall, and you good. And then all of a sudden, now you're just a crouchy old lady. Like, what the frick happened? Like, but
So, I heard somebody compare her to Yoda. Have that kind of role, because it's in a swamp and she's kind of decrepit and old and wearing green. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, but so yeah, that's where it left off. Korra is now with Toph. So let's do our grade for the episode, then let's just talk about what we think is going to happen in the next episode. You go ahead and go first. What's your grade? Our letter grading system that we did last week.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it is gonna be a solid B plus. The reason I say that is because it didn't really. I'm glad enough that they got this out of the way, because that way we can focus more on what's going on with especially now that we've seen Toph, and also we can know what more things that they can reveal about Kuvira and all this stuff. So I'm glad enough that they're done with the series now. I mean, not series. They're done with that part now, and they're gonna be able to move on with everybody else. And it kind of now the reason I give it a B plus also is because I just hate that. Okay, I hate that. I know most shows do this, okay, but you show the character, okay, and yet, boom, end. I understand, but it's like, God dang it, man. You could at least spend 5 more minutes, at least 5 more minutes to like talk about some things, but
they better not do that again. They've already done it at the end of the first episode, showing Korra at the very end, and now they've done it with Toph. So my grade for this episode, and if you couldn't tell from when I was describing it, I really liked it, and I'm going to give it an A minus. I thought it was really deep with how Korra was struggling with the physical disability and the emotional damage that had happened, and the way that was handled really well, the throwbacks to the previous series, and it wasn't a super hilarious episode, but there was a couple good moments for that. I liked just everything about it. I love the new Korra design with the hair and the new green outfit and stuff, and I was just really excited. And just like last week, all of a sudden, boom, 22 minutes, the damn thing's over already. It's like,
Yeah.
I wish we'd get 2 episodes at a time. We didn't, but yeah, I gave it an A minus. Very excited.
That's what I notice, with these episodes from all these seasons, is that you watch it, right? You enjoying it, and then
Hmm.
by the time you truly enjoy it, boom, it's already ended, and you're just like, wait, it's been 22 minutes already, like, but
Yeah, and I gotta say, for anyone watching this, that if I know you say you download it, but literally on Nick.com, there's only 2 commercials, and they're 30 seconds each. Like, they just, I don't know, they must not get the advertising they want for it or what, but there's a couple times where it cuts like it's going to a commercial, and it just comes right back. So,
no, that's
just
fine by me.
yeah, and it's like there's no commercials to really add to the time, and for these reviews, I've been watching the episodes twice. I watch them Friday, and then I watch them right
Yeah.
before we do this, just to have it fresh in my mind. And it's just, man, it's so good, and I can't wait till it's all the episodes are out. I get it on Blu-ray, and I can watch it, all like in 2 sittings or something, because it's gonna be
I
awesome.
just
So.
need I just need next episode to look at more of. I need more Opal and Kuvira.
Hmm.
Okay, I just need more of that.
Well, we're gonna,
And
they're gonna have to show a lot of people's like what happened
yeah,
over the course of 3 years. So.
they're gonna
Uh,
have to, because we have to know what happened. Between
mhm.
Opal and her brother.
And
So
that
I just want to know.
there was that moment where she was reading letters from Bolin, and he was speaking all like completely articulate, and
Yeah.
like, and then it's just like these ridiculous drawings of, you could see Varric and Julie and
Yeah.
Kuvira. It was hilarious. And Grayson Young, he wanted to know what our thoughts on Korra only writing letters to Asami, and he says Korra Sami for the
Of
win.
course.
And
No,
it's
man, I understand. Because I even even in the episode, and they did show this off in the preview too, of like Asami wanting to go with Korra, right? It's just like, hi, come on, you need some company. I'm just like, really company, yeah, really. But it's like I'm starting to go with that, but a little bit, but because it's just like, unless Iroh, I meant like the new Iroh, not the old one, because
yeah.
in the spirit. Well, I'm talking about like the general,
Hmm.
the new general. So if he comes in at, like later on this season, and like all of a sudden you see some kind of connection between them, then sorry, Korasami dead. But I could see something, but I mean, no offense to anybody who's like that, okay, but I don't think they're gonna do that within like this kind of show. Um, like some
I don't know,
kind of
man. I don't. I
you,
wouldn't
you
put it past them to do a little lesbian action. Not any action, but you mean have them end
yeah.
up together? Because it's like they've
Man.
both been burned by the same idiot. So, I mean,
I get you on that.
she needs to at least try another man first, like at least somebody that's not a douchebag, and see how
Hmm.
that goes before she goes with a woman. So.
Yeah.
But so what do you think the next episode is going to cover? What do you think it's going to start with? Is it going to have Toph? Is it going to what do you expect from the next episode?
I'm hoping it starts off, of course, where we left off, where we, at least she talks to Toph, and where you been, blah 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 blah, and then later on it would go with Kuvira more, and seeing more of the Air Nation, how they're doing, because if you didn't see, they actually this week, yesterday actually, it was at no, it was like at Thursday. They were showing a preview for they were showing basically Korra episode 2 live at Comic Con. Yeah, they had a panel, and this was their last one. It makes me sad because I'm right here, but I couldn't go. But they showed how everything's basically they showed some kind of hints of what's going to be happening. So it was really kind of giving out clues. But I'm hoping it would focus more on the Air Nation and how they're doing because 3 years passed, and I really want to see what more they've been actually like accomplishing in the world, or have they? And yes, if you guys were wondering, because probably you guys already know, but that bandit that stole from Opal and
Kai?
Kai's bison, right? The bandit that stole from them that was on the rope. That's the same guy that Kuvira got. So yeah, I'm seeing something going there where she wants them to fail, so
Mm-hmm.
that way people can look bad at them. Just like I said this a couple weeks back. So something's gonna happen like that where I think the world is gonna kind of go, especially like the Earth Kingdom, not really the whole entire world, like the Earth Kingdom is really gonna turn their backs against Republic City and the Air Nation,
You think
because
all
the
that's
Air
going to
Nation.
happen in the next episode, or?
Not all of it, not all of it. I'm just saying. But in the next episode, hoping to see more Toph and more Kuvira and basically what's going on with the Air Nation. That's basically about it.
All right, I think it's going to start with Zuko, not Zuko, sorry, Mako and Asami, maybe because now that Korra's missing with Tenzin and stuff, I think that's going to show them maybe going out and starting to go maybe look for her, and then it's going to cut to Korra and Toph, and we'll get some dialogue there, and then maybe some what's going on with the Air Nation and Kuvira and all that. I think they're going to squeeze a lot in to the next episode. So that's what I'm expecting. I would like it to, I'd like to see more Toph. I hope they just don't skip that and cover some. The next episode be completely Kuvira and or somebody else. I hope it kind of blends all the storylines together. So Tessa made we already kind of covered this, but how many Dagobah jokes do you think there have been since the episode aired? Because we made the reference to the swamp and Yoda. So somebody's going to put together a picture, and it's going to be Star Wars like, and it's going to be, they're going to make it Korra.
That's another thing that they said in the panel. I know we're going on for a little bit, but one last thing, they actually said that kind of thing in the panel, where they made the Kuvira troops in like the way that her army basically is like a Star Wars kind of thing. Because if you see that when they were in the helmets, they look like stormtroopers, and the way Toph was, she was basically like Yoda. So I basically could see that actually becoming like some kind of Star Wars thing, because he did mention that, but he really didn't say it was like a Star Wars thing, of course. But he mentioned that we wanted to make it. It looks like a stormtrooper. It's like a kind of a Star Wars thing. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the writers and those guys watch Star Wars, so I'm sure some soaked in a little bit, even if they didn't even purposely try to make it like that. But Tessa's got some smart ass remarks she made earlier, saying, because I called her out, saying when she said we didn't know what we were talking about. Obviously, I wasn't making my Toph prediction then, but when we did our thoughts and predictions video, she was saying we didn't know what we were talking about when we were doing we were making theories up for what we thought might happen for the season. And I just wanted to point out that now that we're actually seeing episodes, we've been pretty good at calling things ahead of time. And then she also says, related to Korra going lesbian, she says, you have to actually try, Dick, before you really know you don't like it. I don't think Korra's, for all we know, she's probably never been with anyone. So, and then she thinks that you and I should try dating men before we move on to women.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Yeah, good suggestion, but no. And Grayson Young pointed out that the new Iroh's voice is voiced by Donnie Bosco, who did Zuko in the original series, which but I think that's a good point, because they kind of showed that he was a charming guy and stuff, and Korra kind of looked at him in a way. Maybe if they brought him back. And Grayson
remember,
Young,
the United Forces are bringing Mako and freaking Wu to the Earth Kingdom.
Yep.
So don't forget that. They could have some kind of Asami and Iroh to see each other.
All right. And Grayson Young says he wants to be on one of these. We did say last week that we were going to have at some point we're going to bring on other guests, so
Yeah.
we'll definitely keep that as a possibility. And yeah, we hit our 30-minute mark. I said we were going to keep it at 30. I think we've covered everything. Appreciate our regular watchers, that Tessa, Grayson, and Andrew, and anyone else that watches us on the replay. Look forward to these every Saturday around probably 7 p.m. We're going to alternate hosting, so every other week it'll be on my channel, and every other week will be on Games Rose's channel. So make sure you're subscribed and follow us on Google Plus and all that. So that's pretty much it. I don't have anything left to say. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah. So guys, especially you, Grayson, make sure you guys are caught up. Especially for those of you that are not, that gave up in like the second season or third probably. But trust me, go watch it. It's getting good now, and actually it's been getting good. And yeah, so basically, Korra, let's go, man.
Yep. I'm excited. Hopefully, I don't know how many episodes this is gonna be, but
yeah, I have to check that.
We'll do one for each episode, unless like maybe the last 2 episodes, if they air them at the same night or whatever, we'll just do one review for. If they ever group two episodes together, we'll just do one review. So anyway, that's it. We're gonna end this. Look forward to next week's episode, and look for a review sometime on Saturday. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.